Lily stepped into the old apartment, her arms laden with boxes. Sunlight streamed through dusty windows, illuminating the worn hardwood floors. A wave of excitement washed over her. This was a fresh start, a chance to rebuild her life. The apartment was spacious, with high ceilings and an antique fireplace. Lily smiled, already picturing her life unfolding within these rooms. Lily spent the afternoon unpacking, her heart light and optimistic. She hung paintings, arranged books on shelves, and placed a vase of sunflowers on the windowsill. As evening approached, a comforting silence descended upon the apartment. She took a deep breath, content and hopeful. Later that night, Lily was awakened by a strange sound. It was a soft rustling coming from the living room. She lay in bed, listening intently. The sound came again, a slow, dragging noise. Fear pricked at the edges of her contentment. She cautiously climbed out of bed, her heart pounding in her chest. Lily tiptoed towards the living room, her hand trembling as she reached for the light switch. She flicked on the light, her eyes scanning the room. It was empty. The rustling had stopped. She took a deep breath, trying to calm her racing heart. The next few days passed uneventfully, but Lily couldn't shake off the unsettling feeling that something was amiss. It was a subtle sensation, a prickling at the back of her neck, a coldness that seemed to linger in the air. Objects moved slightly, as if disturbed by an unseen hand. Shadows flickered at the edge of her vision. She caught glimpses of movement in the periphery, but when she turned to look, there was nothing there. The atmosphere in the apartment felt different now, heavy and oppressive. Lily felt a constant unease, as if she was being watched. One evening, while Lily was reading in the living room, the light suddenly flickered and died. The apartment was plunged into darkness, the only sound her own sharp intake of breath. Her pulse quickened, her hand instinctively reaching for her phone. She fumbled for the flashlight app, her finger trembling as she pressed the icon. The bright beam cut through the darkness, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. And then she saw it. Standing at the far end of the room, a tall, shadowy figure. Its edges were blurred, indistinct, as if formed from smoke and darkness. The phone slipped from Lily's grasp, clattering to the floor as a scream caught in her throat. The shadowy figure remained motionless, a chilling silhouette against the faint glow of the city lights filtering through the window. The next morning, Lily called her friend Sarah, her voice trembling as she recounted the terrifying events of the previous night. Sarah listened patiently, her voice soothing and reassuring. She reminded Lily that old buildings were often prone to electrical problems and suggested it might have been a trick of the light. But Lily's gut told her it was something more. She couldn't shake off the image of the shadowy figure, the feeling of dread that clung to her like a shroud. Sarah, sensing her friend's growing fear, decided to visit. As they sat at the kitchen table, sipping tea, Sarah mentioned an urban legend she had heard about the building. It was a chilling tale of a man who had been murdered in the apartment many years ago, his spirit forever trapped within its walls. The story spoke of a shadowy figure, a malevolent presence that haunted the apartment, feeding on the fear of its occupants. Lily listened, her blood turning to ice. Determined to prove she wasn't imagining things, Lily bought several security cameras. She strategically placed them around the apartment, their blinking lights offering a small sense of security. That night, unable to sleep, Lily sat staring at the monitor connected to the cameras. The apartment was eerily still, the only sound the gentle hum of the electronics. Then, on the screen displaying the living room, a movement. The hair on the back of Lily's neck stood on end. The Shadow Man materialized from the darkest corner of the room, its form solidifying from the shadows. Lily watched in horror as the figure turned its head, its non-existent gaze seemingly fixed on the camera. Lily couldn't stay in the apartment, not another night. The image of the Shadow Man captured on camera confirmed her worst fears. This was not a figment of her imagination, it was real and it was menacing. She quickly packed a bag, throwing clothes and essentials into it with trembling hands. Her heart hammered against her ribs, every creak of the floorboards sending a jolt of fear through her. As she reached for her bag, she heard a noise. It was a soft, dragging sound coming from the hallway. Lily fled the apartment, her breath catching in her throat. She left the apartment, the city, and the terrifying memory of the shadow man behind her, forever haunted by the chilling encounter.